Hi everyone, I'm Colin Hanks with the Oracle Applications Users Group. Welcome everyone to this session of OAUG e-learning, part of our Modern Business Close series, Consolidation and Close for Multinational Organizations. Before we get started, I'd like to go over a couple housekeeping items. One, you will be on mute throughout this presentation. If you'd like to ask a question, please type it into the questions box in your control panel at any time. Once the presentation has concluded, I will read the questions back so the presenter can respond. Also, we are recording this session. It will be available on the OAUG website within the next 24 hours at oaug.org under e-learnings. Now I'd like to introduce your presenters, RJ Linehan with Innovis Partners and Thomas Simkis with Creoal Consulting. How are you guys today?
Doing well, Colin. Thanks for asking. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's all yours.
Okay, great. So this is Tom Simkis from Creoal Consulting. We'll be doing a brief introduction. I'll talk about the speakers, both myself and RJ. We'll review current consolidation challenges. We're going to review why you would use the Financial Closing Consolidation Cloud Service tool from Oracle to solve some of these problems. And then RJ is going to go through and do a demo that he'll show within the application for a multinational organization. So this is the third in a series of sessions that we've done. We started this back in June. We've had some tremendous response. And this is kind of the final session that we're doing. And the first use case that we focused on was really just automating your close process. That was geared towards really any size company that is looking to track the close in something other than Excel or Word. And the FCCS tool has some great functionality with regards to automating your close, tracking processes, tracking jobs, and tracking approvals. The second use case that we reviewed last month was using the FCCS tool set not only to close your books, but also to help do consolidations. So the use case that we reviewed was a US dollar company, single currency with multiple sources. So whether that source was eBusiness Suite or QuickBooks or Workday or some other tool, getting your financials into a single tool set for consolidations, eliminations, and reporting. Today's use case, we're going to talk about multinational organizations. So multiple ledgers, multiple currencies. Transferring your data, using it to book your eliminations, your translations, your revaluations, what have you, and kind of eliminating use of Excel. So there's a lot of companies out there that run eBusiness Suite, but they still have countries that are not necessarily on eBusiness Suite yet, or are using localized software, and they need to do need a way to do consolidation. And that's what we'll kind of focus on in today's session. So a little about the speakers. RJ, you want to give your background?
Sure. Thank you, Tom. Yes, my name is RJ Linehan. I'm a managing partner at Innovis Partners. I have been working in the EPM BI space as both a consultant, both technical and functional, for over 17 years. I've managed many of EPM and BI projects for over 50 organizations through that time. I have been certified in planning and S-Base, and I'm an active speaker in a number of the Oracle conferences. I'm also a board member of the OAUG NYC user group in New York. Innovis Partners is an Oracle Gold partner that specializes in implementing EPM and BI solutions. We have adopted an approach that has been very successful for our customers, where we approach our engagement in a case approach: configure, adopt, support, and extend. Our goal is to build a thriving partnership with our customers in order for them to see success with the products that they invest in, both on the EPM and BI side. Tom, it's all yours.
Okay, so this is Tom Simkis. I am the Director of Cloud Solutions with Creoal Consulting. I've been doing this for about 22 years. Started out as an end user, using Oracle Applications 10.7. Moved into consulting shortly after that. I've done over 60 full cycle implementations, primarily focused on Oracle EBS and Oracle Cloud. I am a Fusion General Ledger Specialist and a Payable Specialist. That's the new test that just came out last year. Currently have over 18 full cycle cloud ERP implementations. That does not count the HCM and CX ones, but we've certainly done this an awful lot. I was the OUG Star Presenter of the Year, not the Start Presenter of the Year. I've done this 3 times. I've yet to fix that slide, so sorry about that. I'm also an Oracle Ace, which I was promoted to Oracle Ace last year. There's only 24 applications aces currently in the United States. I'm a CPA in the state of New Jersey, and I'm also an attorney, member of the Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and American Bar Association. My company is Creoal Consulting. We are based out of Bethesda, Maryland. We've been doing Oracle Consulting for about 12 years. We have 4 managing partners, 3 of whom worked at Oracle, and they've been doing this for quite a long time. We started out primarily in the federal space. We've recently expanded our business into the public sector and cloud spaces. So enough about us. Let's kind of talk about the consolidation challenges. So anyone that has attended the prior 2 sessions, some of this stuff should look familiar to you. And we keep kind of hitting the message over and over again just so people understand. There are significant costs associated with an extended close. So peers, they're taking about 9 days to get the reports done, and then they're reporting. And then obviously they're doing their analysis after that. Whereas the top performers, those folks that have a small close cycle, they're doing 6 days to get their books closed and adjusted, and then they're doing the reporting. So obviously that's giving them additional time to do analysis. And what that means is you can see if you need to lower production or you need to take hedges against currency and give you a little bit more flexibility, the faster you can get your books closed. And doing it the old way with Excel and Word is no longer the way to manage your close process. Using latest next generation tools and those things that we can utilize rather than doing it manually. So some challenges facing finance organization. This was from an Accenture study that was done a few months ago, and the CFOs and finance leaders thought that the biggest issue that they have was complex legacy systems and environments. So what that means is they're dealing with multiple systems, not just one ERP system, but multiple ERP systems, multiple consolidation tools, whether it's Excel or something else, and they have to take those systems and then manage the needs of all their stakeholders. So that really is a challenge, and not having a good tool to do those things and make it easier is something that slows the close process down. Managing new and complex risks, what we found out that folks mean by that is legislative changes. So there's obviously some new FASBs coming out with regard to revenue recognition. They're in effect, and we're going to have to start reporting on those as soon as January. So having tools that are old and outdated certainly makes that process a little bit more complicated. And then, of course, you've got modernizing finance process due to complex operating models. And really that is a driver, or that is an outcome, of number 1, which is complex legacy systems. So trying to organize those legacy systems into a single tool set is a challenge and is what takes the close process a lot longer than it should. So this is a typical finance organization. As we said most times, this is not meant to be gospel. This is just something that RJ and I have seen over and over again. It really is something that is what we see, and it is pretty typical. So the folks that we have in the square, those are the folks that we're kind of speaking to. Under the controller, those are the people that are responsible for closing the books, doing your financial reporting, and obviously doing your consolidation. The FP&A folks are concerned about forecasting, analytics, and management reporting. They can't do their job until the folks under the controller do their job. So the longer it takes to get our books, the longer it takes the FP&A to do the management reporting, and obviously get their budgets revised and forecasts done. Here's the use case that we're going through today. We have a US dollar parent. That's just the use case. It really could be any parent. GBP, Euro, Yen, it doesn't really matter. But you've got a single currency parent, and they're consolidating from multi-currency subsidiaries. So in our example, we have a US dollar subsidiary and a GBP subsidiary. You need to be able to track the close across country, across resources. You need to be able to report on that information, provide preliminary reports, record your eliminations and adjustments, and obviously generate your reporting package. And the idea is we want to do this in as expeditious fashion as possible and obviously be as accurate as we can. So what is the use case? Multiple GL systems, multiple currency, consolidation, revaluation, and translation. All those things to be legacy FASB 50 compliant. We have a single parent. This is a medium complexity use case, and we say it's medium complexity because in this use case we have one multi-currency ledger. Obviously, the more currencies you have, the more complex the use case becomes. That is something that you do need to manage. This use case leverages many of the FCCS key features, including the close calendar, data loads. Those data loads can be used to load your close calendar and close tasks. They can also be used to load your data from your legacy systems. It uses the consolidation feature, reports, journals, and supplemental data. The thing to note in this use case that it supports, which I think is key, it supports loading your legacy chart of accounts as is. And your transformation and mapping happens within the tool, which gives you the ability for a nice clean audit trail and reduces the risk of reduces the risk of Excel formulas or duplication of data. So why FCCS? It integrates pretty nicely with any system. FCCS is agnostic. So we can put it on top of JD Edwards, PeopleSoft, obviously eBusiness Suite, SAP, QuickBooks, NetSuite, just to name a few. So it is system agnostic. It is leveraging the power of Oracle Hyperion. So Hyperion's been around for a long time. Oracle's recently just moved this great functionality into the cloud. And with each month, Oracle is getting the on-prem functionality and the cloud functionality closer and closer together. The expectation is by the end of the year, the difference between functionality is going to be negligible. So almost anything that you can do in the on-prem version, you'll be able to do in the cloud version. So what's the value prop for FCCS? And it depends on who you're asking. And it really does. So we put this slide in here so that for you folks on the finance side that are having a challenge and you're stuck using legacy tools, depending on whom you have to ask for budget, whether it's your controller or whether it's your IT person, that's the conversation that you'll need to have. So if you're talking to IT, the things you want to focus on is you can decrease cost per user. And you do that because it's a hosted solution. You're not worried about IT infrastructure any longer. You're not worried about IT folks managing it. Oracle's going to handle that for you. So that eliminates the need for hardware upgrades. You're always up to date with software, so it is a cloud solution. So Oracle's going to be putting that monthly patches or quarterly patches out. You're getting the latest and greatest. It gives you access to new enhancements. So a challenge that RJ and I see quite frequently with legacy Hyperion customers is that they're on an older version of Hyperion. And the software is old, the hardware is old, and nobody in IT wants to take the project over to modernize it. But a lot of the great features that we're going to be showing you today, you're not able to take advantage of in an on-prem environment. Reduced administration, and it doesn't mean that those IT guys are going to have less things to do. They're just going to have less care and feeding for this system and allow them to focus on other value-add things for your organization. And then, of course, it's painless integration. So it really is, as I said earlier, it's system agnostic. So the integration is relatively painless. You can use Excel or flat files to get the information over, and then we can use data management to do the mapping. So most of those things that IT has to support are no longer done. They'll be put into the hands of the business owners, as I said, freeing them up to do value add. If you're speaking to finance, the things that you want to focus on, for me as an accountant and a former auditor, that lower audit risk, and that really is truth. The risk of errors in Excel and people fat fingering things and duplicating data is real. Having a tool that will be able to take a trial balance, load it in, and then map it and provide clean auditable reports is something that those folks in internal audit are really going to love. And certainly your controller should love it as well, because with the reduced risk of error becomes speed and accuracy. You can obviously enhance the reporting process. As you guys will see, the dashboards that come with this system are phenomenal. It is really latest generation. You can use Excel to do reporting. You can use BI to do reporting, and there's pre-built dashboards that come out of the box. It integrates closely with your close process. So you can have a close process checklist that goes right from the start of closing your subledgers all the way through the translation, revaluation, and consolidation. And the thing that I like is a small step to cloud. I have a lot of folks when I go out and do sales calls, they literally will say to me, "We've got to get on cloud," and I'll say, "Why?" And they'll tell me, "Well, I have to, because that's what everybody's doing." But the fact remains is there's a lot of on-premise systems and on-premise customers that can't take that big step in the cloud. So this is a really nice checkbox to get you started on your cloud journey. We call this an outside-in approach to cloud. So that's where you take an edge product, put it in, and integrate it with your on-prem application as you start your journey into the cloud. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to my counterpart, RJ Linehan, who's going to take you through some of the details. RJ, you want to take it away?
Thanks, Tom. Yes, so now we've reached the demo portion of our presentation, and today what we're going to be looking at is FCCS and what it looks like when deployed for supporting a consolidation of multinational organization. What we'll do today is similar to what we did in the past presentation, where we'll look at first FCCS's reporting capabilities. I'll then move on and look at some of the journal capabilities that FCCS offers when consolidating your books. I'm going to jump into how FCCS performs its consolidation, which is important for multinational organizations. And then I'll close up and walk you through how, again, Close Manager integrates with the consolidation features of FCCS. So starting first with the reporting dashboards. One of the real strengths of FCCS is its reporting capabilities, not only its ability to provide different types of reporting to fit a user's needs, but also just the ease of setting it up. What we're looking at here is one of the out-of-the-box reporting dashboards that is supported within FCCS. Essentially what we've done is we've actually built this using a report and form within FCCS, and then opened up brought those forms into the dashboard, and it allows you to display key metrics that are important for your close process. For this particular balance sheet dashboard, you get a bird's eye view of what your organization looks like. We're capturing a point in time reporting for those key balance sheet metrics. And this will, again, allow you to track the health of your organization. You almost want to keep your finger on the pulse. So again, looking at some of these key metrics, we have the ability to not only look at it from an aggregate point of view, but also create different slices of the data, so that if you want to look at your actuals or your budget, you have the ability to do that. Look at it over multiple years for different types of entities. And then obviously for a multinational organization, you can look at it in different currencies. Again, the goal here is to get and deliver as much information, or I should say relevant information, that allows you to make those business decisions. In the next dashboard that we have, we're looking at what is the organization's cash flow position. Okay, of course, what's very important to all organizations is the current health of the company's cash reserves. Are the company's cash flow positions improving? Is there any pain? Are there instances where we need to, look at specific reasons for why the company's cash positions are either negative or positive? This dashboard will provide instant insight into your company's cash flow situation, so that at any given time you have an understanding of where you're at. Now, the other types of reporting that are available within FCCS as it pertains to larger organizations are the production reporting capabilities. These are true single point of maintenance reporting. It provides basically the ability for a company or an organization to create a single report template using Financial Reporting Studio, which comes along with the FCCS subscription, and publish it to its FCCS users in many different fashions. So what you're looking at here is an income statement report for a particular organization. And it's made available through a template that is accessible to the user in the browser. So this is a completely interactive report where the user can, in the upper left-hand corner, change the point of view. So if they're looking at EMEA, they can change the currency to euro. Okay, if they wanted to look at a different year, they have the ability to change the year. So again, it's an interactive report that gets information quickly to the user. This is being retrieved in real time from FCCS. So as data changes or by users or gets loaded from your source system, the report is automatically updated or can be refreshed to look at those results. This report also can be available when you look at it through the browser, either on your computer or through a mobile device. The next, or this is the same report, but it's also looking at it in a PDF format. And this can be delivered through it at the FCCS report portal, so it can be accessed by users, or it can be emailed to the users. So those users that receive this email or can access it through the portal, they can download it, save it off on their computer for future use. They can print it, or they can share these PDF files. In fact, those users that actually receive these reports from either email, they don't even need to have access to FCCS, the FCCS subscription. They can actually gain access to these reports outside of FCCS. This same report template is also available in Excel. And again, most users, especially accountants and analysts who consider Excel their right hand, again, we don't want to take that tool away from them. So this same report can be launched from Excel using FCCS's Microsoft Office Smart View add-in. And it can be retrieved, as you see here, in a highly formatted report that can then be saved off or published or printed, but it also can be retrieved in query ready mode. So a number of users who, they like these highly formatted reports, and it requires very little maintenance in order to manage them. However, if a user wants to zero in on, say, gross revenue for the US, in US dollars, they have the ability to download the same report in query ready mode, do a keep only on gross revenue, pivot the geography or the entity into the row or the column, and then maybe look at that information from a totally different perspective than the way the report started out. And what's important to note here, that as they're making these changes, they can save this report off and use it for future use, but it doesn't change the integrity of the existing report template. That is preserved and can only be changed by an administrator or a power user. So again, what we're striving here is that FCCS helps organizations achieve that reporting standardization, or that one version of the truth that they've always been looking for. Again, that same report through the Microsoft Office add-in is also accessible in both Microsoft Word as well as PowerPoint. So a number of organizations that Tom and I have come across we've noticed that these organizations create these periodic reporting books, and they are massive and they take a lot of time to complete. And what SmartView does is it allows you or the organization to eliminate all of the heavy lifting, the time it takes to actually copy and paste content into Excel, and then the formatting, and then the checks to make sure that the formulas are correct, and then the copying into PowerPoint or to Microsoft Word. All of those tasks, which are, the time is spent really wasted just, building the report, is eliminated because SmartView will handle that heavy lifting. It'll allow you to import these report templates, which have already been validated on the system, and bring it into either Microsoft Word or PowerPoint so that you can hit one button and completely refresh that book when you need to run it for a specific period. Okay, so again, FCCS is taking away or eliminating all of that time spent on getting the data ready so that you can report on it, and give you the opportunity to actually analyze and look at the data. So finally, on the reporting front, as I mentioned, we have SmartView for reporting. This shows you a specific example of an ad hoc report. I had mentioned earlier that the report templates that you build can be made or converted into query mode and brought into Excel. Well, if users don't want to work off of a report template and they want to build a report on the fly, SmartView will also provide that reporting capability here, as you've seen. This essentially, this report was created by just using the ad hoc capability within SmartView, and I dynamically built out on the fly this report to get the information that I needed at the time that I was looking at this report. Now, moving on to data forms or data input forms within FCCS, this gives you the ability or some insight into its capabilities for capturing information that is relevant for the close and the consolidation. So a lot of information that you require in order to consolidate data is not available in your source system, be it your general ledger or some other third-party system that you're using, or information that you would require to close the books. It's just not readily available. It might be available on somebody's laptop in an Excel worksheet. And the goal here is to make sure that we get all of that relevant information, all of that supporting detail, and bring it into FCCS so that you have an audit trail, that you have the ability to, again, not only justify and validate the numbers, but from an auditing perspective, if anyone ever questions the numbers, you have that supporting detail. So for instance, in this particular debt form, what we've done is we've entered in all of the detail of the debt that is relevant for this particular transaction. Again, it has both quantitative and qualitative data. You have the ability to enter it in to the currency that is associated with the base entity. Remember, what FCCS does is it handles the currency conversion appropriately. So again, the user doesn't have to worry about, did they convert it properly? Did they use the correct rate? FCCS handles that. What's important to note is that when users are entering in this type of data, you want to make sure that they are entering it in properly, that they have the specific set of instructions so that it's entered in and you're providing that integrity of your data. In another example, we have our investment form where, again, you have investment detail that needs to be recorded and captured both for your close and your consolidation, and you need to capture it in multiple currencies. So because those investments may have been made abroad and require the capturing of its local currency. Again, FCCS will handle all of that information and capture it properly, and then apply the appropriate conversion. So again, the thing to note here when it comes to the data input forms is that what we are trying to do is improve the accuracy of the consolidation process. And not only just improve it, but also to validate it and document it so that at the end of the day, if anyone ever questions the number, you've got the supporting detail to answer any of those questions. Now we're going to move on to the journal capabilities within FCCS. And a number of organizations who have used HFM in the past, they have this need for capturing journal entries that aren't necessarily recorded in their ERP system. So again, HFM was the tool that allowed you to capture all that information and properly consolidate your books. So in the case of a multinational organization, one of the key requirements is the ability to book an IFRS adjustment. At the end of the day, what we're looking to do here is to back out your local GAAP accounting entries and then recognize your IFRS entries. Again, FCCS provides that capability and allows you to not only reflect the actual detail, but to tie that and provide that reconciliation so that when it comes time to actually rebuilding your financial statements from an IFRS perspective, it provides the ability to track that movement. If you think about it, think of it like a GPS system where you have multiple destinations and you're going from one destination to the other. FCCS allows for that transaction and its corresponding adjustments, the ability to track where you have been and where you are going, where the transaction has been and where the transaction is going. So at the end of the day, you can fully understand or drill back to when you're looking at an IFRS statement how that adjusting entry was booked and to ensure that it was booked appropriately. Another type of adjustment that is important to multinational organization are their intercompany adjustments. In this particular example, we're looking at an intercompany adjustment that allows, again, the ability to not only book those intercompanies, but also to handle the eliminations. And again, FCCS, once set up and configured to handle your intercompanies, will do this automatically. And it is done, that functionality is built right into FCCS through the way it actually performs the consolidation and handles the intercompanies.
Hey, RJ, I'm just going to jump in real quick.
Go right ahead.
From EBS or cloud folks, you're probably thinking it's no big deal. Oracle does this automatically, and it's a true statement. Bear in mind the use case. This is a situation where you've got multiple systems that aren't necessarily speaking to each other. So this is for intercompany transactions that are across ledger or cross system, and the systems aren't integrated. The other thing to note, the journal entries that we're seeing, there's a couple different use cases. Obviously, the intercompany adjustment is something that is used for consolidation, so we can eliminate those transactions. The IFRS adjustment that RJ showed, that would be a perpetual adjustment, something that you would never probably push down to your subsidiaries, but you needed to do your consolidated US GAAP reporting. But the other use case that you could see is, topside entries for things that you just couldn't get in. So if you got a 3-day close cycle, but you know that you had a revenue event or you had some type of transaction that you just could not get into your subsystem, you certainly want it reflected in your consolidated financials, we can book an adjusting entry topside, have it reverse in the following month, and obviously book that journal entry in the actual subsidiary ledger, so that your financial statements are accurately reflected, but only those adjustments that are perpetual that relate to consolidation, not the transactions, are pushed down to your subsystems. Go ahead, RJ.
Great, thanks, Tom. Okay, so I think we've gone through a couple of different journal entry examples. What I'm going to move over now and talk a little bit about is the concept of consolidation within FCCS. And the next two slides, I wanted to preface this conversation with exactly how FCCS performs its consolidation. And the goal here is not to have you walk away and understand exactly how FCCS does that. I actually put this next slide in more for reference. So you can, if you want, download the deck and kind of take it all in. But again, what I wanted to show here is graphically how FCCS performs a consolidation. And then the next slide, I'm actually going to show you what it would look like in a report. So, but again, the goal here with using the consolidation dimension within FCCS is its ability to enable reporting on details, okay, that are used to perform different stages of the consolidation. So again, because of the way FCCS handles its consolidation, starting with the entity input member, where you actually store base entity input data as well as parent entity input data, that is where all of the data that would be stored from your source system. Then it has a concept called entity consolidation, and this is where the parent entity total contribution from the children is performed. This is a system calculation. Okay, so FCCS is again doing this entity consolidation calculation on its own. You define the rules up front as to how these entities get consolidated, and then FCCS handles it from there. You then roll up to the entity total, which is the aggregation of your entity for both the inputs and the consolidation. And then you have the proportion, which is the weighted value of the entity input of a single entity for a specific parent entity. Then if you have intercompanies, you'll have an elimination bucket, and this is the intercompany elimination for that parent-child entity. And then finally, you get to the contribution, which is the consolidated result of a single entity for the specific parent entity. Now, why is this important, and why am I talking about that? Well, because FCCS has built into it this natural approach for consolidations. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, yeah, maybe I do, maybe there's an 80-20 rule where I only do 80% of what's being described on this slide. That's fine, because FCCS can handle the other 20%. That would not necessarily be handled like out of the box. It might be a customization. But what's important to note here is that what we're describing is something that comes right out of the box and is available within FCCS. That 80% of what you're looking to consolidate will probably be handled right here, as you do that initial configuration of FCCS. The other 20% may require a customization, which again would also be able to be handled within FCCS. But so what's important to note here is that by the way FCCS is able to capture and represent the consolidation or the path of how data is rolls up to the contribution will get us to a type of report which you see here, where it allows you to look at a consolidated income statement for a particular entity and show you the breakout of that consolidation. So what was inputted, okay, where are your eliminations, your adjustments, the fact that you have that capability, right within FCCS. There's no more trying to figure out, what Excel model did I use to do that consolidation? Is this formula correct? No, FCCS handles that, right out of the box, and provides you with that audit trail. So finally, I'm just going to circle back and talk a little bit about the close manager, because that's always an important part of the close and consolidation process for an organization. And if we recall from prior presentations, we have our FCCS dashboards, and these are those intuitive dashboards that give you pretty much, or allow you to keep a pulse on your actual close process. You can identify any late tasks with one click. Like for instance here, when you're looking at the dashboard, those late tasks can be drilled out so you can see, again, who is the culprit, who's what are those tasks that are slowing down my close process. At the end of the day, you're focusing on fixing those problems so that you can close your books faster. And then finally, those dashboards also provide you with real-time updates, performance updates. They measure compliance. They'll identify any pain points or problem childs that exist within the process, and essentially give you an insight into how well you are compliant with your close process. Are you in fact hitting those deadlines in order to make sure that you're closing the books on time? And then finally, FCCS out of the box provides you with some considerable or insightful task views. Again, all out of the box that allow you to look at your close process in a format that you're comfortable with, whether it's a task list view or a Gantt chart view or a calendar view. These and just so you're aware, I didn't really talk about this earlier. You can even look at this in Microsoft Outlook using your Smart View, Microsoft Office for Smart View add-in. These tasks become available in task lists within Microsoft Outlook. So again, depending on what your preference is and how you want to access this information, FCCS provides that capability to be able to give you the information or deliver it the way you want to see that information.
So just to drive that kind of point home, there's a lot of folks out there that are probably saying, we could do these consolidations and transformations using tools we have, such as, eBusiness Suite does consolidations very well, and it does mappings particularly well, and it does, and so does Oracle Cloud ERP. The reason, the value prop from FCCS, as RJ was showing, is all those tools, the calendar, those dashboards, the task list, that stuff that comes out of the box that those other tools do not have. So you're certainly not going to get that calendar view or the Gantt chart view in eBusiness Suite, nor in Oracle Cloud ERP without this tool set. So, those are differentiators that really add the value and show the flexibility of the FCCS tool set. Will certainly obviously helping you with your consolidation and your management. So now we can talk about the training event, RJ. Sorry about that.
Nope, it's all you. I'm going to flip it back to you, Tom.
All right. So, we went through 3 sessions, 3 hours, and RJ did a lot of great work for us in showing how to do this stuff in a PowerPoint. In conjunction with the New York OUG, which RJ does sit on the board, we are offering an in-person event. So October 18th at 120 Park Avenue, which is the Oracle office in New York. RJ of Innovis and Creoal Consulting are going to be sponsoring a 2.5-hour hands-on training session where you'll be able to take some of your data and bring it in, and we'll show you how to do some mapping and also how to do some creation of reports and some things through SmartView. So a wonderful opportunity. Information to be forthcoming. Anyone that attended these sessions certainly will get an invite. So if you're on the East Coast and can make it to New York for a day, a CPE credit will be offered. So 1 CPE credit will be offered from the New York OUG. So details to come. And with that, we'll open it up for questions, Colin.
Awesome, thanks guys. So let's start out with questions. First one is, any recommended formats to get data into the tool?
The recommended formats, RJ, you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. So FCCS is not particular. As Tom mentioned in one of the previous slides, FCCS really doesn't care what the source is. Obviously, if you can provide a flat file from that system, we can load it up into FCCS. Now, of course, with every system, there is a format that is required, but that's why we have data management, which is the tool that sits in between the source system and FCCS that will allow, if the data is not in an exact format that FCCS likes, data management will handle that transformation to get it loaded to FCCS.
Okay, and then is there a limit on the number of currencies?
No. So currently, any of the ISO supported currencies we can load into the system, and then obviously you have to just load the different exchange rates, daily rate or average rate, so we can do the revaluations and translations.
Okay, and then is the capability for additional 6 custom dimensions coming in the September 1st release? Do you know?
That's the big question that everyone's been asking, and we're not Oracle. Again, the guidance that I've heard from product management, and this was as of June, is that it's important. It's expected to be this year. I just don't know when. Okay, so Oracle, that's one of the features that is preventing parity between on-prem HFM and FCCS, and Oracle is very aware of that, and they're pushing to get it out. So it's coming.
Okay, and then another one. I don't know if y'all will be able to answer, but will HFM even parity be announced before Open World? With that, do you know if rules in Calc Manager, what the status on that is?
Yeah, that's my same answer. Again, yeah. We're looking diligently at every single new release that comes out once a month to find out when it's available. And of course, we have access to FCCS, so we're looking at it as well. But as of right now, what I shared with you, it's important to Oracle. It's on their roadmap. They're pushing to get it. And the last guidance I received that they're trying to get it out for this year.
Okay. Thanks, RJ. So reporting in FCCS versus financial reporting in HFM Prem, are there any major gaps?
No, as of right now, there is true parity between financial reports on-prem and financial reports in FCCS. You'll also be glad to know, and you know what, I'll use the 95-5 rule on that. 95% of the features that I've used in Financial Reporting Studio in the cloud are available or on-prem are available in the cloud. I haven't come across any deficiencies yet in the functionality. You'll also be happy to know that the financial reports client is no longer or is not available with FCCS. You have a completely web-based browser version of Financial Studio, and I was a little suspicious when they released it, and if it was in fact, going to be hint, I'm winking my eyes or when I'm saying as good as the client version, but it's actually, I like it a lot, so if you're at the in-person event, I'll be sure if you can attend, we'll definitely make sure we touch on the Financial Reporting Studio version available in FCCS.
Thanks, RJ. Okay, next question. Since in cloud, Essbase is going to be database for HFM, how rules can be written in Calc Manager? Is that going to be VB based or calculation script based?
It's going to be again, because FCCS is built off of an Essbase BSO cube, it will be in the Calc script format, and you'll be using Calc script Manager to do that. But that's not available yet either as of the last release, and I just need to double check that. But that is the plan, because FCCS is now built off of Essbase.
Okay. How do you define intercompany eliminations in FCCS? Is it easier in FCCS compared to Oracle Cloud GL?
Tom,
it's completely different. It's completely different. So in FCCS, it's more using mapping rules, as opposed to, like, you just literally map one value and tell it what to do. Whereas in Cloud ERP, it's more based upon transactionals. So the functionality is the same. You're going to get your eliminations. You're going to get your automatic balancing journal entries, but it's a completely different setup process. The way that it does it, it's an API that's used to call the balancing in ERP, whereas it's strictly rules based within FCCS.
Okay, thanks, Tom. For FCCS reporting, do you need a separate EPRCS subscription too?
Yes, currently right now, EPRCS is a separate EPM cloud offering. Do you need EPRCS to run FCCS? No. But if you are purchasing EPRCS because you want the narrative reporting features and the workflow that's built into the report, the reporting process, that's separate from FCCS, two separate subscriptions.
Okay, and that's all the questions that we have in the system. If anyone does have any questions, please go ahead and type them into the questions box on your control panel, and we will answer them with the time we have left. If we don't have any further questions, we will give you back some time in your day. Thank you. Okay, since we have no further questions coming in, I'd like to thank our speakers, RJ Linehan and Tom Simkis, for presenting with us for the third session in their Modern Business Close series. We really do appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for attending today's session. For future sessions, please go to oaug.org under Education and E-Learnings to see what we have coming up. Again, thank you, everyone, for attending today. And remember, this is being recorded and will be available on the OAUG website within the next 24 hours. Thank you, and have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, Colin.
Thank you, guys.